Hello, friends, and welcome to The Artificial Brain, the podcast that explores the frontiers of artificial intelligence, one fascinating idea at a time. I'm your host, Shining. From groundbreaking models to the big questions about our future, we're here to make sense of it all, clearly, honestly, and without the hype. Ready to expand your mind? Let's dive in. What is good, artificial brain fam? Welcome back to the lab. Today we are getting absolutely cooked on some cutting-edge tech that is literally rewriting the rulebook for artificial intelligence. We are talking about reasoning models in 2025, and if you think last year was wild, just wait until you hear about the glow-up these neural networks have undergone. We are not just talking about chatbots that can spit out a sonnet anymore. No cap. We are talking about models that can actually think, plan, and solve complex problems without hallucinating all over the place. It is giving main character energy for real. So grab your popcorn, because we are diving deep into the era of inference time scaling and the heavy hitters like Opus 4.5, GPT 5.2, and Gemini 3 Pro. First off, let's talk about the vibe shift. For a long time, the whole AI game was about making the model bigger. Just throw more parameters at the wall, add more GPUs, and pray it gets smarter. But in 2025, the real ones know that is not the only move. The meta has changed. We have entered the age of inference timescaling.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Let me break this down for you like you are 5. Imagine you have a genius friend who is super smart but answers every question instantly without thinking. They usually say something kinda dumb or miss the point. That was the old way of AI. Now, imagine you tell that genius friend, hey, take a breath, think about this for a minute, write down your thoughts, and then give me the answer. Suddenly, they are solving math proofs they would have missed before. That is inference timescaling. It is about letting the model spend actual compute time thinking before it speaks. This is the secret sauce behind the new wave of reasoning models. They have the same neural guts, the same weights, but they are using their brain power differently. It is wild because it changes the whole economics of AI. You can now get next-level performance just by letting the model think longer. Now, let's get into the heavyweights, the specific models that are dominating the leaderboards right now.
And his name is John C.
First up, Opus 4.5. I know, the version numbers are getting out of hand, but trust me, this thing slaps. The reports coming out about Opus 4.5 suggest it is not just incrementally better, it is performing at a level that is honestly kinda scary. We are seeing it crush benchmarks that were previously thought to be unsolvable for machines. When we look at the benchmarks for 2025, specifically things like compositional depth and planning complexity, Opus 4.5 is just dancing circles around the competition. It is not just predicting the next word anymore. It is actually navigating a maze of logic to find a solution. It is low-key insane how good it is at structured reasoning, especially in predefined domains.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Then we have the titan in the room, GPT 5.2. The hype was massive, and honestly, for the most part, it delivered. The jump from the previous versions to 5.2 in terms of adaptability is huge. GPT 5.2 has really focused on that multi-dimensional reasoning capability we have been hearing so much about. Wait, let me explain that real quick. Multi-dimensional reasoning is basically the ability to look at the problem from several angles at once. Like, imagine you are trying to plan a route through a city. A basic model just looks at the distance. A multi-dimensional reasoning model looks at distance, traffic, weather, and maybe even where the good coffee shops are. It combines all those dimensions to give you a better answer. GPT 5.2 excels at this, expanding the semantic space and breaking the rigidity of thought that used to plague older models. And we cannot sleep on Gemini 3 Pro. This model is coming in hot, with a focus on real-world utility. While some models are flexing on benchmarks, Gemini 3 Pro is built to work. It is highly adaptable, which is exactly what business owners are looking for. But before we go further down the rabbit hole of these specific models, I want to take a quick tangent. Let's zoom out for a second. The history of AI reasoning is actually hilarious. Back in the day, researchers thought that if we just wrote enough if-then statements, we could create intelligence. They called them expert systems. It was basically a massive flowchart on steroids. If you had a headache, it would ask, is it sharp or dull? If dull, take aspirin. If sharp, panic. Obviously, that did not work out. The world is too messy. There are too many variables. Then we got the neural network revolution, and models started to get really good at mimicking human language, but they still could not really reason. They were like that one student in class who memorized a textbook but did not understand a single concept. They could pass the test, but ask them to solve a new kind of problem and they would crumble.
Bruh.
That is what makes 2025 so different. We are finally seeing models that can go beyond the textbook. We are seeing the birth of what researchers call advanced structured reasoning. This is not just regurgitating training data. This is applying logic in new contexts. There is this fascinating paper about a multidimensional reasoning framework that dropped recently. It explains how chain of thought reasoning, or COT, guides the model through multi-step logical reasoning.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
So think of chain of thought like showing your work in math class. Instead of just writing the answer, you write down every step you took to get there. This forces the model to stay on track and not skip steps. It expands the semantic space, which is a fancy way of saying it explores more possibilities before settling on an answer. This is huge because it breaks the rigidity of thought. Old models would get stuck in a loop. These new models can pivot, rethink, and try a different angle if the first one does not work. Okay, let's bring it back to the present day. We have all these brainy models, but what are they actually good for? Is this just cool tech for the sake of cool tech? Or is there real utility here? Real talk. The business use cases for this are where the money is at. And yes, the pricing for these reasoning models can be wild, so you better believe they better be useful. One of the biggest areas is customer service. I know. Customer service bots are usually annoying. There is nothing worse than getting stuck in a loop with a bot that keeps asking you for your zip code, even though you just want a refund. But reasoning models are changing that. Because they can reason, they can handle complex interactions.
Emotional damage!
Imagine you have a complicated issue with your internet. The old bot would just send you a reset link. A reasoning model like the ones we are seeing in 2025 can actually look at your account history, see that you have had 3 outages this month, realize a reset link is useless, and actually schedule a technician for you without you wanting to scream.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That is the goal. These models need to be highly adaptable to be of use to business owners, and that is exactly what the research shows. On every possible kind of customer service interaction, reasoning models are proving they can handle the nuance. Another huge area is coding and software development. These models are not just writing snippets of code anymore. They are architecting entire systems. They can debug code that was written by someone else, figure out why the database is slow, and optimize the whole stack. Hold on, we got to talk about security for a second. With these models getting so smart, there is a shady side too. If they can reason well enough to write code, they can reason well enough to find exploits. We are already seeing reports of people using advanced reasoning models to probe for vulnerabilities. But for now, let's focus on the positive breakthroughs. The benchmarks in 2025 are getting a major glow up. The standard tests we used to use to measure intelligence are basically being retired because these models are acing them. It is honestly a bit ridiculous. You throw a benchmark from 2023 at GPT 5.2 or Opus 4.5, and it just obliterates it. We have had to invent harder tests. We are talking about controllable puzzles that span compositional depth and planning complexity. We are throwing curveballs at these models to see if they can handle unexpected changes in the middle of a problem, and the results are surprising. While they are not perfect, they surely are a significant step forward toward models with actual, usable intelligence. But let's keep it 100. We need to address the hype. There is a lot of chatter out there claiming reasoning models are basically superhuman, that they are going to replace scientists and doctors tomorrow. Can we please pump the brakes? Reasoning models are impressive, but they are not the superhuman intelligence some of us are waiting for. They still make mistakes. They still hallucinate. Sometimes they fail in the most spectacular ways. You ask it a simple logic puzzle, and it starts spouting nonsense about the history of cheese. It is hilarious when it happens, but it reminds us that we are not at the singularity yet. If you go into this expecting an all-knowing God in a box, you are gonna have a bad time. These are tools, extremely powerful brainy tools, but tools nonetheless. The best way to use them is as a collaborator, not a replacement. You are the pilot. The AI is the co-pilot. Let's talk about something really nerdy but super important that is happening right now, the cognitive architecture prompt.
Meow.
I know that sounds like buzzword salad, but bear with me. In 2025, we discovered that you can change how a model thinks just by changing the instructions you give it at the start. It is not just about asking a question, it is about setting the stage. There was a development in June of 2025 about a multi-dimensional reasoning prompt that significantly changes most reasoning models' ability to understand and respond to complex tasks. It changes the cognitive architecture. It basically tells the model, hey, stop being a linear robot and be a multidimensional thinker. This is huge because it means we can squeeze more performance out of the same model without retraining it. It is like a software update for the brain. We are also seeing this in Alibaba's ecosystem. Their models excel in predefined domains because they are tuned specifically for that environment. They know the language, the context, and the specific problems that come up. This is a key lesson. General reasoning is great, but specialized reasoning is where the money is. So, where does all this leave us? What is the verdict on reasoning models in 2020?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
It is complicated. On one hand, we have made breakthroughs that seemed impossible 2 years ago. The ability to scale inference time, to have models think before they speak, and to solve multi-step problems is mind-blowing. We have models like Opus 4.5, GPT 5.2, and Gemini 3 Pro that are reshaping industries from customer service to coding. On the other hand, we have to navigate the hype cycle carefully. We need to debunk the myth that these things are magic. They are not. They are math. Really advanced, really cool math. The real breakthrough is not just that they are smart, it is that they are adaptable. That is the key AI development of 2025. It is not about having the biggest parameter count anymore. It is about how well the model can handle a situation it has never seen before. To wrap this up, here are the key takeaways you need to remember for your next Tech Talk. First, inference time scaling is the new meta. Letting models think longer is proving more effective than just making them bigger. Second, the big three, Opus 4.5, GPT 5.2, and Gemini 3 Pro, are showing us what real-world problem-solving looks like. They are adapting, planning, and reasoning in ways that feel genuinely intelligent. Third, benchmarks are broken and we need new ones. The old tests are too easy. and we need to evaluate these models on controllable puzzles that really stress test their logic.
Bruh.
And finally, despite the hype, reasoning models are still a work in progress. They are significant steps forward, but they are not the end of the road. We are just getting started.
Phone face down, but I still feel it buzz. All these scenes from the day playing back just because. Keys on the table, coat on the chair. Your laughter in the hall, still hanging in the air. Roll the credits on the long, long day. Let the cause.
That is the scoop on reasoning models in 2025 for the artificial brain. It is a wild time to be alive and watching this tech evolve. I am Shining, and I will catch you in the next one. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep your brain buzzing. Peace.